Okay, folks, welcome to the Home Trails podcast, and it is a special time of year, my favourite time of year. It's a time that I refer to as spineless, but basically it's winter spine season. So we're on the countdown now to January 2026, where we'll be seeing everybody toeing the lines of various races. We've got 7 races now, so Sprint South, Sprint North, Challenger South, Challenger North, full winter spine, MRT South, MRT North. So that's 7 races to be dot watching, which is kind of mind blowing. So what we're going to be doing between now and January the 10th weekend, we are going to be interviewing people that are doing some of the races, people connected with the media team, some people connected with the race organisation, and we're going to just basically get you all the interviews and try and build the hype over the next month, maybe 2 months as we go into January. We'll probably have some interviews to do after the race as well. So if you came here for spine content, you've got it. If you didn't come here for spine content, then unfortunately this is what it's going to be. There will be the few odds podcast interviews with people not related to the spine race, but I will endeavour to sort of tell you at the start of the episode that this isn't a spine race connected podcast. There'll be few and far between, hopefully. No offence to the people that I'll be interviewing, but it is officially spineless. So looking forward to seeing what comes out of this year. It's going to be a great race, as always. So dive into the conversations now. Okay, so welcome to the Home Trails podcast. So we are still in spine season, so it's appropriate, I think, that we have our guest on tonight. So Damian Hall obviously is coming back, but he's coming back to do the Sprint North. So the new race he did the trial run of it let's say last winter. It was last winter, but it was January still this year. He set down the time, and I can't find where the time is, but I'll ask him what the time was for it. Time to beat. Then he did it in the summer, and now it's fully into the ranks of the races. So we're going to find out what his approach is for that. So hopefully, if you're taking part in any of the races, I hope your training is going well. Looking forward to seeing everyone in the start line. So I will just pause before he comes in. Yes, we are recording. So welcome back to number one guest, Damian Hall, for returning for, I don't know, 5th or 6th time on the podcast.
I'm keeping as good a score as you. I'm not sure, but thank you for having me on. It's always nice to always nice to chat running and or the spine.
Yeah.
Which I imagine is what we're
We
focusing on.
will be talking about the spine, obviously. Appreciate you coming on, mate. We had a bit of a mix around, didn't we? First, it didn't work for you, and then I last minute forgot that it was 6 o'clock, and my kids had convinced me to take them out and drop them off, and it's just a nightmare with traffic and stuff. So appreciate you pushing it on a bit later. Much appreciated. You're a dad yourself. You understand these things, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I was a tiny bit late as well, partly because I just dashed out to get some ice cream for my daughter, which might sound a bit indulgent, but she's just been to the dentist and had 2 teeth out.
Fair
And
enough.
I guess if there is a dentist listening, that might not sound logical in one way, but yeah, she's in quite a bit of discomfort, and I thought that was an easy thing to eat, and hopefully so I
That's
was a
good.
few minutes late as well due to family things.
There might be a dentist listening actually, because I last week interviewed Jamie Rutherford, who's an now ex-dentist, isn't he? So
Oh yes. Well, I
no,
don't think he can tell us off if he's an ex-dentist. I think he can't. Keep your oar out, Jamie. Yeah, not listening to you anymore.
that's it. Quit his job to follow his passions in life. So good
Yeah,
lad.
great guy and really talented photographer, and but he's also incredibly good runner and can really keep up with people as well, which is quite an asset.
Yeah, he did. So he came and did some shooting for your spine recce weekend, didn't he? How did that go?
Yeah, really well. So it was just a reminder what an asset. I mean, there are various race photographers, and quite a few of them will be runners themselves. However, we did. So I've been putting on this sort of official spine races training weekend. This was the third one we've done, And yeah, we did a 20 miler over from Dufton all the way over to Elston, and Jamie joined in all of it with all all his photography equipment. Plus, he often had to, try and get ahead of us to get the photos of us, coming up Crossfeld, coming to Craig's Hut. So, I mean, I think he had a bigger workout than most of us. But yeah, amazing photos despite, um, yeah, the weather plus, yeah, carrying all that kit, running all that way. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
yeah,
talented guy.
he's a good lad. He's very very humble. Clearly, a very humble guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's good on him. Um, so did that? Is that something? Is that a permanent fixture now? Then doing that every year? I'm guessing it is that you've done it for the third time.
I think so. I mean, yeah, it's always up to the spine kind of thing as long as they're happy. But I've done two winter ones and one summer one, and this winter one was the most popular yet. We had like we used the Alston Youth Hostel, which is the checkpoint, as you'll well know.
Mm,
And we could only take 20 people, and we had 27 people at various times signing up and wanting to join us. And we have an array of sort of spine experts from different angles, from safety team, from people at checkpoints, and people who've done the race um, many times. So hopefully, people went away satisfied with more knowledge about how to. Well, I'm confident they did, and how to do it or how not to do it, or and a better idea of navigation and kit and
mm.
health, sort of personal admin and things like that. So, and I mean, I was chatting to someone on the weekend. I mean, running's not a totally dickhead-free zone, but it almost is, isn't it? Like nearly everyone there. Well, no, sorry, absolutely everyone there. Nearly every runner I ever meet. I hope careful what I say. That sounds like it's rare you meet
Yes,
a
true,
runner you don't,
true.
you
Mm,
really don't like. So, yeah, it was lovely. It's lovely mixing with people and hearing their stories and the different spine levels of spine curiosity.
mm.
There were two or three there who haven't signed up for a spine race yet and were just curious. And every time they said haven't signed up for a spine race, everyone else would go yet. Uh,
Yeah. Mm.
there's the inevitability, the pull of the spine races. Yeah.
Yeah, that surprises me actually because I just assumed that it was the only people that would sign up for it. Not that you wouldn't want to sign up for it, but the only people that would sign up for it are people that are like fully invested because they've literally signed up.
You get some people who are sort of maybe planning ahead, like thinking of doing maybe next summer
Mm,
or maybe even the year after. Like some people hadn't got into the winter one this year, but were hoping to get into the winter the next year, but obviously they don't know yet. So I think nearly everyone there had a level of spine curiosity. We did have one person, Helen, who was going to do Winter Downs 200 and just completed that. Well done, Helen. And she was, I guess, just looking for sort of last minute tips for 200 milers, sleep strategies and so on. So you do get a handful. At least three-quarters had a spine place of some sort, and the rest were mostly. Oh yeah, one other guy was Hardmore's. Is it Hardmore's 180 or Hardmore's 200? Um, so two other people were just more interested in the really long stuff, but
mm,
yeah, mostly spine curious, and I'm pretty sure everyone there will come and do a spine race at some point.
yeah, yeah, invaluable, I'm sure for all of them. Yeah. Um, so the last time we spoke was I was looking back, and it wasn't that long ago. It was July when you had your Lakeland 100 win.
Oh,
But you've been busy in between, haven't you? Because I've not had a chance to talk to you about three solo. So, like, firstly, you know, hats off to you for going for that. And so how did it go? And obviously, it didn't end exactly how you wanted it to end, but how, on reflection now, how do you feel about it?
thank you. Yeah, yeah. Really, we've got to call it 2.5 solo. I yeah. I mean, I'm still happy with my decision to stop. I guess in that moment and for a long enough moment, I didn't feel like I was being safe and sensible. The weather was just against me, and I was I was kind of wet through with four upper body layers and two full leg cover. I was wet, um, but as long as I was moving well, I was staying warm enough. But as it got dark, you just slow down that bit, and I was climbing one of the mole winds where the path was sort of a bit elusive, and you just slow down, and then you'd get cold, and the wind would rip through me. And I guess that was happening for quite a long time, and yeah, I just didn't feel safe, and I'm happy with my sort of judgment and decision. But of course, it means I need to go back. But
Yeah.
but overall, Yeah, several wins out of it. Um, and ultimately, what did I want? I wanted a an adventure where I walked away, without injury, without serious mishap. Um, and it's something technically hadn't been done before, even if I
Mm,
didn't, complete it, but it still looked doable. It still feels doable.
mm.
I just need the weather to be at least 20% kinder. And yeah, I will try again next year when the weather's better. So it was a great adventure. It was a great adventure.
Yeah. It's it's one of those things that you obviously you can plan so much for the weather, can't you? But it's kind of the luck of the draw, isn't it? That you kind of whatever you end up with is whatever you end up with. And to have that kind of weather, obviously you must have been in situations like that before in the in the spine and stuff. But you kind of because you're on your own, it's a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, and I did start. Yeah, firstly with the weather, like I did delay it one day. I had a decent weather window, so I did delay it a day. I thought, it's a bit too bad now. It's a little bit better a day later, and I was unlucky in that. Yeah, like most of the summer was pretty good in Britain for British standards, and then
Mm.
there was kind of a week or two that were quite rough, and then it went back to quite nice weather. But I've got childcare and work and stuff to arrange around these sorts of things, and that was the best window for me in terms of you know the dwindling light and weather versus not being close to Lakeland 100 as well. I think it was 6 or 7 weeks afterwards, and I'm
Mm.
quite respectful of recovery nowadays. Even that was pretty tight, but I felt fresh. And then I did ponder afterwards. I was like, hold on, I've completed the full winter spine race 4 times. How did I let bad weather sort of stop me? And I think it is partly that you probably are carrying, like I was well prepared. I had 5 layers in total. I ended up taking one off and a wet one off and putting one on. I don't think I ever had like 5 upper body layers on at the same time, but I had 4, including kit that had got me through the spine, like a really thick what's it called, synthetic forgotten the name of the substance, but
Like a down jacket type
no,
thing.
not down, because down gets a bit less warm when it's wet, but a synthetic sort of equivalent
Mm.
that I've used many
Pertex or
times.
something.
Yeah, what's the other one?
Not Pertex.
Anyway, what
Yeah.
warm, but it's an Om jacket. I've had it for
Yeah.
10 years. I've used it for all my spines. It's been really good. So I feel like I had a good amount of kit. I didn't. I am I do skimp in a shorter race. I will skimp on kit. I do think like I was carrying a good amount of kit. I had a merino layer as well, and decent waterproof. Um, but ultimately, I had no one. My tracker died. My tracker stopped in Manchester. Uh, and that was playing on my mind a bit because before that, although technically for it to be a solo self-supported, no one should come and meet you at all.
Mm.
I did have 3 friends tracking me just out of safety, really.
Mm.
And then when my trackers died, I would update them like I'm roughly here, roughly there. But ultimately, if I slipped or got hypothermic, no one knew quite where I was, or
Mm.
and it might be it might be some hours. I had a emergency bivy bag as well. Um, but really, I guess I felt less safe because my tracker wasn't working, and I did calculate how many hours have I got left, and I thought it's at least 10, and
Mm.
it was about 8 at night at this stage. Been dark for a bit, and it was 10 hours. It was through the night. It I don't really know if the weather was going to improve. It didn't feel like it was improving. But I realized also I had at least 3 exposed climbs left where I was going to get battered by the wind again. And I think it was roughly like 40-mile-an-hour wind type stuff. Like, um, so it was really ripping through me. And I think that's it. On the spine, there are people tracking you.
Mm.
You know there's going to be a halfway checkpoint. I don't think you'd go 10 hours in the spine without seeing some kind of aid or at least people
Mm.
tracking you.
Mm.
So ultimately I didn't feel that safe. I've been in lots of similar situations, and maybe sometimes I could have been safer, but I think in this one I just thought I'm not sure. I'm not. I don't feel. I don't feel too safe, and I don't. Yeah, don't be a statistic. I could come and do this
Mm.
another time. Ultimately, I've
Yeah.
had a
Yeah.
big adventure. I've
What, what,
sort of
what,
proved it could work, just
yeah.
about. So yeah, still happy with that. Still had a big outing. Didn't
Mm.
get injured. So memorable moments.
Would a younger Damian Hall have just carried on, do you think, or do you think it's just that it was just the right decision, full stop?
It's a good question, but I
You're
think
getting a bit
maybe a younger
wiser.
Damien Hall might have made sort of maybe more mistakes early on, like maybe wouldn't have fueled as well, maybe would have
Mm.
been more reckless early on, perhaps, maybe with pacing and stuff. So
Mm.
I think I'm a better, a better athlete and mountain sort of person now, but I am 50. So the only difference is I have lost a bit of speed, but whether that really counts that much, up in the mountains, I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm more experienced and safer and wiser now. So yeah, I think I would. I don't think that's a really interesting question, but I don't think I would have made some of the early better decisions um, when I was younger that I did on this, and especially
Mm.
in terms of fueling, recovery, looking after myself,
Mhm.
those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not worried about anybody else coming along and doing the same kind of thing, the same attempt and doing it before you, because
I
that
mean,
would
in
does
a
it
way, it
cross your
would be.
mind?
It hadn't really, and anyone's welcome. It's fun to plot because yeah, you're trying to. It's all jigsaws. So if you're
Hmm.
using public transport, you need to be finishing at public transport friendly times, for example. So that's got to be roughly 7 till 7 maybe. Um, so that dictates when you start, and then I was determined to make it totally repeatable for other people. So I've got to leave my bag. Like I can't get any external help that wouldn't be available to anyone else. So I had to leave my bag, I suppose, at my accommodation in the first and third round. And in the Bob Graham, there's a bar called the Round right by Moot Hall, which most people in Keswick will know. But yeah, it was super helpful and friendly. And they watched my bag for 24 hours, which, and that in theory is open to anyone to do. Yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be fun if it became a thing because you could be, yeah, it's how clever can you be with the planning? Like at one point, I was going to miss I think from Fort William, it was actually for my timings, like a bus was going to be quicker um, than a train, but then I missed that bus. Now I ended up actually getting a taxi all the way to Glasgow, which possibly isn't in the sort of spirit of it. In I think it was a 3 hour taxi ride. Now, as a friend of mine said, well, in theory, taxis are public transport. You could just get a taxi for
Mm.
I
Yeah.
mean, I couldn't afford that probably, but like technically that's public
Good.
transport. But
Yeah.
really, that's not the spirit of it, is it? Because you are being
No.
driven the whole way around. So I need to. It's not up to me to invent the rules of it necessarily, but I think I need to be a bit. I need to find a better parameters of when a taxi is okay. I'm not sure taxi for 3 hours is when I could have waited a couple of hours and got a train or bus. I'm not sure that's all right.
But I suppose in an emergency, then it's better that someone survives, isn't it, rather than something bad happens to
Oh
somebody.
sure. Oh
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, yeah. But no, it's a fun idea. It's a fun idea. I would like it if it becomes repeatable. But yeah, please let me set the best time on it first. All you young whippersnappers. Yeah.
Because yeah, I just thought if John was still in the country, would he be going and trying to have an attempt at it as well?
Well, to be fair to him, he's already done it better, hasn't he, with the bike in
On his
between,
bike.
which I've never really aspired to do. So he has done, yeah, something more impressive and lower carbon. So yeah, I think he's happy with that one. And I've not heard of anyone. Oh no, I did hear of someone trying to repeat that. I've forgotten their name, but someone did try and repeat that this summer.
Mm.
Didn't finish it, but yeah, which takes some balls.
It's good though to see that there's still things out there that like projects that people can do because it seemed like in lockdown it became about FKTs, didn't it, a little bit, and then it kind of died off a little bit when races came back and everything. But it's great to see that people have still got projects that they can do that, like the one that you did.
Yeah, and there's all sorts people can come up with, and that's partly why I always love the idea of it. So for those who don't know, Mike Hartley, who had the Pan Am record for over 30 years, he was the first person to do 3 rounds continuously. And I'd read about that or heard about it years ago and was always quite intrigued.
It
But I
was in the
guess
90s, wasn't it?
yeah,
1990 that was, wasn't
yeah, he
it?
did it the year after. He did the Pan Am record, and then he said he felt that hadn't really pushed him enough.
Yeah.
um, and so he did the big 3 rounds, and I think he felt that did push him enough. Um, but he drove between them. And yeah, I mean, I'm not against that at all. And I do, I do car journeys. It just felt a tiny bit awkward, breaking up these wonderful runs with a car journey. I suppose also with my, being a co-founder of the Green Runners, again, not against car journeys. I take car journeys, but it didn't seem quite like you don't. There are lots of long runs you can do without car journeys,
Mm.
essentially. But once I thought, well, could you do it on public transport? Then it just felt, well, it's a lower carbon, so fewer emissions come from that. That just suddenly felt quite an exciting idea. So yeah, there are all sorts of things people could come up with, and I think for me, I mean, yeah, only speaking about myself, lots of driving in between them is less appealing for me, whereas linking them with public transport is quite cool, or on a bike. I think for people who are into cycling, I don't mind cycling, but it's not my thing. And but for people who want to do that, that's yeah, really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, doable. Did you see last weekend's the Winter Bob Graham round? Fell by three minutes, 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, no, I was
Arthur
tracking it,
Hill.
and I've never met the guy, but I think he actually reached out and invited me. I don't think he realised how old and slow I am, and I couldn't do that weekend anyway. But yeah, I was tracking it, and it was incredibly close. So it was, yeah,
Yeah,
very exciting,
three
very
minutes,
impressive.
4 minutes. Yeah,
Arthur,
it's good.
wasn't it, Arthur?
It's Arthur Hill. Yeah, no relation. I interviewed him a couple of days ago.
Oh,
A
great!
couple of days ago, when was it? Friday, I think it was, or Thursday. Yeah, I put that episode out this morning. Yeah, he's interesting lad. I feel so old when I interview lads that are like, he's 24, so he's got like the under 25 record, and he grew up in the lakes and only started like fell running a couple of years ago, sort of thing, and like the mind boggles. I said to him like, does it sort of, you know makes sense to you that for us looking in that you've grew up in the lakes, just started fell running, and within a relatively short period of time have taken one of the most coveted records in the Lake District. And it was like, yeah, I do kind of see the gravity of it and everything. And then I was like, and the people that you had helping you, like Kim Collison, Beth Pascal, and obviously Gavin himself came and helped out. And possibly you could have been there as well if it had worked for you. And I was like, "Were you starstruck?" And he was like, "Yeah, I was a bit, but I was so focused on copying everybody else's splits and trying to get a good time." But he's a great lad, great lad. I'm sure he's going to do, at 24 and he's doing that,
Wow,
going to go places.
wow, yeah.
And then there's us old folk, you know. I'm speaking for myself there. Um, but yeah, just the hearing that you're 50 now, that just fills me with like hope for the future. Obviously, I'm never going to run to your standard, but as I've got, I'm nearly 46, and I feel like I'm getting slower. And well, I know that I'm getting slower, but I know that you've done some research into this, haven't you, about running in your later years. What's your advice for people like me that have been running for a long time, but starting to feel like possibly slowing down a little bit? What's the most important thing we should be doing?
Well, yeah, I've got a if you allow the clumsy plug, I've got a book coming out on this in
Yes, I thought
9th,
so.
9th of April, Run Forever, and it's partly yeah, partly my brilliant publisher or commissioning editor at Vertebrate, Kirsty Reed, who herself is a
No,
brilliant
Kirsty. Yeah.
brilliant ultra runner in her early 50s. We've been talking about doing a book like this for a while, and we're both very interested in how do we carry on being the best we can be. So I've been looking into a lot. I would actually think some of the I was going to say solutions or ideas aren't that shocking, but if you
Mm,
don't do them, it's quite
yeah.
shocking what happens and how quickly things might go the wrong way. I mean, number one thing is, yeah, don't stop. um, Carry on training. We might need to reduce volume a little bit. It might be that someone is like me who's used to running 6 days a week. Maybe it comes down to five at some point, and the other days maybe a cross training day, just to let tendons and muscles just give them a little bit of a more chance to recover. It might be that we're more conscious on recovery in terms of after a long run or a session, like a workout with intensity. We might consider there to be like 2 days of recovery. Now, recovery can mean various things. It could be a full rest, it could be an easy run, it could be some cross training. But I would always consider now like 2 days of without something else really testing. Um, so I would say first of all, yeah, try and avoid injury and don't stop. Carry on with that consistency, maybe tweaking it a little bit, and then the speed, the VO2 max speed becomes so important because that's what goes first. And but if we keep hitting it, keep doing those 1, 2, 3, in theory, up to 5 minute sort of intervals that will be VO2 max. That will keep, we might not be getting quicker, but hopefully we're not getting slower, or at least we're controlling the fade as much as possible. So keep the VO2 max in there, and your lactate threshold, so more like tempo runs. Obviously, that's going to go a bit as well, but that goes a bit more slowly. So you'd still do some of that. So in some ways, it is carry on as before, but the strength training becomes huge, and especially for women around menopause, like the bone health, obviously your muscles, but it's your metabolism, it's your whole sort of hormone system is linked to your muscles as well. It's amazing. If you don't strength train, you're really, how would you say it? I don't want to say asking for trouble, but like especially for female athletes, we're experiencing muscle wastage from anywhere from in our 40s, and that's going to affect our longevity as well, our health span, and our susceptibility to the four worst diseases, the four horsemen of the apocalypse, a bit later on. But a lot of those diseases settle in our sort of midlife, 30s and 40s. They're already being sort of hinted at, and so we've got to be doing that stuff now, and especially strength training. And then the two other things are what people would guess probably, but it's sleeping and diet. But it, again, especially with sleep, it's like if you don't sleep, if you keep cutting corners on your sleep, the things you're doing to your body is quite incredible. And we'll sleep a little bit less well as we get older, and the body's repairing. It's releasing the human growth hormone as we sleep. But just bear in mind we might be a bit more tired and we're getting a bit less sleep. And that's just not, the body's not recovering. We get injured, we have some time off, we get less motivated, we come back, we're not as fast, we're a bit less motivated, we get injured again. You can see this pattern really easily happening. And sleep's going to be a huge part of that. And I think most people like Matthew Walker say, we're aiming for hopefully 8 hours on average. And sleep, I've definitely fallen into the trap before of, if you're not sleeping well, your body wants the sort of sugary snacks more, and you're reaching for the cupboard, the naughty cupboard at 9 o'clock. Sleep is so important. And then diet, for a lot of us, it's making sure we get the protein, because if we do the strength work but don't get the protein in, it's not nearly as effective. And the thing with protein that I didn't realize for a few years was, you can't just sort of ignore protein all day and then have a big chicken at dinner. That's wasted, because apparently we only digest about 30 grams of protein an hour. So really, you have got to space it through the day. Every meal should have around 30 grams of protein, and probably with your snacks as well. So it's getting, and fueling enough. So with the fueling, I mean, I broadly follow a sort of almost 80. I mean, I'm one of those annoying vegans, but I normally go for like an 80-20 approach, in that 80%, it's probably not 80%. I aim for 80% to be healthy foods, and then the 20% can be, your long run biscuits and chocolate and chews and gels. To be honest, if I'm being, it's probably not 80-20 really. But the idea is that mostly if you eat, healthy whole foods, fruit and veg, quality protein, that it's not the end of the world if you eat a few bad things too, especially if you're working out. So with the diet, I mean, there are lots of vitamins and minerals you need to be getting in, and any runner anyway should be careful with things like iron and protein. But really, it's eating enough, getting the protein, getting fruit and vegetables. Shouldn't be too much more complicated than that. But they're the main things, and I think most runners who are serious about their training would have guessed. But what if you do neglect those things? It's quite surprising how quickly you might slide. Especially things like bone felt. And then for women, I don't want to be mansplaining stuff here, but like, the menopause is such an unpredictable phase for people. And I've interviewed people in the book like Nikki Spinks and Anna Troop and Debbie Martin Kansani, Susie Chan, and they've all got quite different stories of menopause. And actually in the book, I've got Renee McGregor's done a chapter on the menopause, so that it's not mansplaining, because I don't know what it's like. But she's got some really good advice in there, and yeah, I hope there's something in there for everyone who's, I guess, if I'm honest, like, yeah, 40 and onwards. But there's lots of hope. There are lots of people doing incredible things. Um, and there are lots of people, and we're sort of at the frontier of science, honestly, because the generation of before us, you know, broadly speaking, our mums and dads weren't out training into their 40s and 50s doing triathlons. I don't think triathlon was a thing then. So, and certainly ultra running wasn't. So it's quite exciting. And a lot of the science is actually based, all right, you could say a lot of it's based on young men on bikes, but a lot of it also is based on sedentary people. So some of the ideas of about aging aren't accurate for sort of, yeah, semi-serious athletes like us, you know, who are really committed to their running. So in some ways there's a lot to be optimistic about.
Yeah. Yeah, brilliant. So when does that book come out then?
9th of April.
That's very
Run
cool. So
for
it's all done and dusted, is it? Or have you still got to finish
uh
bits of it?
it's all at the publishers. They usually send it back to me and say, we don't understand this bit, can you make sense of this, can you get rid of this bit, can you explain this, where did you get this from? And that takes about a week. But it's been written. The first draft has been written and handed in. I'm just nervously waiting for it to come back.
Hoping there's not too many red X's on it from
Yes,
the
there
teacher.
usually is. There usually is.
Amazing. Right. So the spine. So obviously you're coming back this year, but you're not doing the full like traditionally we would see you come and do the full. So you're coming back to do Sprint North, which is a new race, isn't it? So I keep saying last year, but it's actually still this year, isn't it? So January at the start of this year, you went and did like a trial run of it, didn't you, to put down a time? And I couldn't find. I think I knew at the time, but I couldn't find what time you actually did that in.
I can't remember either. It was on my Strava. I can look afterwards. I think it, off the top of my head, was it around 10 hours? I'm not. I'm not.
That's what I was thinking. I'm sure I heard somebody say around 10 hours. Yeah, it might have been Lindley actually. I interviewed Lindley, and I'm sure he said it was around 10 hours.
But off the top of my head, I can't remember. But yeah, I think that's a really great race idea. I'm not just saying that because there's, I do much favour the northern half of the route to the southern half. I wouldn't, personally, not so keen. I love the full one, but if I'm totally honest, not so keen on the southern races. Whereas the northern ones, you get the extra remoteness, the extra hills, Blenkinsop, Rasta Ralph. What more do you want? So, but the last 40 miles is, or at least the Cheviots is kind of the best bit, or at least in the best 2 or 3 bits of the whole route, and it's the remotest bit. It's yeah, and yet when you do the full race or even the Challenger North, to be honest, you get there and you're pretty wrecked and you're quite keen for it to be over, in my experience. So it's
Mm.
really nice. I had that sort of dummy run in January. It's really nice just to run the last bit and go, oh, this is really nice. Yeah, it's that said, they start us off at 12, I think. So yeah, a lot of it's in the dark for a lot of people, but you can still have, when I ran it, it was beautiful. I saw the stars, I had the moon. It was a beautiful night. So yeah, it's a really special, and there's a couple of little changes. There's a couple of alternative routes options, and this race takes them, which the other routes don't. Slightly different finish, so
Mm.
it's actually really nice. It's a really special. We go to the Cheviot summit and back, which the other races don't do. So
Mm.
it's quite it's a little treat actually. It's yeah. I'm
It's a
looking
shame,
forward
isn't it, that not like you say normally when you get to that point in any of the two northern races, you just feel like once you get to Burness that just the Cheviot to get over and then I'm done. And so you kind of, I suppose, you could be forgiven for not really appreciating that section because you just want to get it done, don't you? And I know, I've as much as I loved in the summer when I went over there and I actually saw some goats quite close to me, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not hallucinating them. They are actually there. Um, you get to, did you feel like it will be a race where you actually get to see things a lot clearer than you would do on Challenger North and the full race?
Yeah, kind of yes and no. I mean, because it will be mostly in the dark for people, but you still get an experience up there definitely. And yeah, I think you're just fresher. You're just fresher, and you just hate yourself and hate the world a bit less, hopefully. Um, and you still get to, yeah. I'm presuming there'll be staff in the huts, which is always good fun as well. Um, I can't imagine the weather will be as kind as it was this January. It was nice. I think I only had like one layer for a lot, like a long sleeve base layer for quite a lot of it, I think.
Wow.
And yeah, beautiful night. It was great. We'll see if it's like that this time. And the Chivits is almost always in snow for the spine. I could definitely think of one year where it wasn't, but I've been involved in the race like five, eight, I think 8 or 9 times. So most years, and the Chivits is 90% of the time in the snow. And that can mean all sorts of things. Actually, that can be sort of thigh deep snowdrifts that you can hardly move in, or maybe nice crisp, you know,
Mm.
runnable stuff on the flagstones, or yeah, sloshy. It could be any. It could be it could be any type of snow. Um, and the flagstones as well. You tend to get the snow sort of piled up on the flagstones because it's sort of the wind blows it across the heather and then it settles down into the flagstones. So it can be, yeah, it can be quite a battle. It can be quite a battle. But looking forward to it.
Yeah. What are your sort of hopes for time wise? Are you know, you got your own time, obviously when you find out your own time from this year, but are you planning on going for a time, or are you in it for the, you know, are you going to be racing? Or are you going to be going for a time?
Yeah, I'll try and give it a blast. I'll check what my time was and I'll try and beat my own time. Because I think I started off thinking, yeah, I'll try and set down a really strong time, and then after a few hours, I sort of forgot and was just chilling in the huts a
Enjoying it.
bit and just enjoying myself. And I definitely wasn't racing later on. But I'd like to, yeah, I'm there to race. I mean, it's not really my distance and so on, but I'm there to have fun and try and record my best time on on the route. Although with all spine races, the winter ones anyway, the times are so dependent on what the conditions are like. So the year before, was it the year before? No, yeah, year before that when Jack set the fastest time and I set the second fastest time. Like the records went down in nearly all the races because it was just fast underfoot because it was so hard. So that feeds into it a lot. You've no idea whether it's going to be really nice and runnable or an absolute slog. And in fact, we'll be up there first, won't we? I think so. We might be blazing a trail for the rest of them. So that may or may not be good fun.
Don't wear shorts like Mark Derbyshire.
Oops.
Um, will you have any sort of FOMO with the full race, or will you be thinking, oh, now I'm here, now I'm all kitted up? Could I have done the full? Do I want to do the full, or are you just happy with your decision to do the sprint?
Yeah, I think I'll be in Edale. Yeah, no, I'll get massive FOMO. Yeah, I kind of hate it, love it. I love being there, but I will want to be doing it. But I'll just have to sort of hold myself back. But yeah, absolutely love it. Yeah, I think there are two or three races in my sort of time in ultra running, which must be 12 or so years now. There are two or three races I've got really obsessed with and just adore. And yeah, the spine's definitely one of them. And then it's more personal for me because I've got, I guess, yeah, a history of the Pennine Way in writing a guidebook, and then I've come back and worked on the race a few times. And then yeah, go and run it in summer as well. So I've got so much history with it, which sometimes, yeah, I don't want to go off it. I don't want to sort of run it so many times, but it's so different in
Mm,
winter. But yeah, I do love the full version. I'm pretty confident I will be back to do the full version another time soon.
mm.
Yeah, it's a
Uh,
problem. I've still got a
but
spine problem.
yeah, haven't we all? What are your thoughts on contenders for this year? Then, have you seen? I don't suppose if you've looked at the lineup for any of the races or not.
Oh, I gave it I've given it a glance. But you never quite know because sometimes elite athletes do get added right towards the end. But
Mm.
obviously, my good frenemy John Kelly is back, and he would be the
Mm.
favourite again. However, I mean, someone who's really interesting to watch is Sebastien Rachon, who's a French guy I've met a couple of times, including in Tennessee. And he's won the Tour de Glaciers twice. So I mean, this terrain is pretty different to Tour de Glaciers, very different. But he's brilliant, and he's an adventure racer, and that's
Mm.
where in the early days, Pavel Plonce, Ian Keith, their adventure racing background was
Mm.
what sort of led to their wins, many wins. That's 6 wins between the two of them. So he's going to be very good. Now he won't know the Pennines, and hopefully he's looked at the kit list and seen how much he has to carry. But he's going to be really interesting. And then the year Jack won, which is the year I don't like to talk about so much. Him, and James Nobles left Langdon Beck at I think 8, 9, 10 o'clock on one of the nights. The third night, probably second night, probably. And actually, so yeah, Jack went on to win. I went on to play second. But actually, I felt that evening, James he seemed the freshest and the strongest out of us. So I've been
Mm.
excited to wait for him to come back
Yeah,
and have a go. I'm pretty sure he's on the start list, isn't he?
he is. Yeah.
There were those three, and then I mean, yeah, Eugenie Rosello is there again. He's been on the start line every single time except the very first race. He knows it very well. There is a certain pattern we see with his races, but who knows? I think he is faster and mentally stronger than some people might realize.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, one year he might get it right.
Keeps
I mean,
coming
I
back,
would,
doesn't he? Keeps coming back.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put him as favorite above the three I've mentioned, but let's see. And then also, is it Joe O'Leary from Ireland who won the Challenger North? Um, Again, I wouldn't expect him to be challenging right at the front, deep into the race with those guys. But if two or three of them DNF, um, which is probably increasingly common with people who are coming back because it's so
Mm.
hard to convince yourself to sort of carry on when you know you're not going to have the race you hoped, and you might want to save yourself for something else, which I understand. But someone like Joe might push through and place really strongly. I mean, they're the people I've spotted in the men's race. In the women's race, well, Claire Bamworth's on the start list. She
Mm.
was on the start list for this year and didn't turn up. So
Yeah, she's been injured,
we
hasn't
don't
she?
know.
She has been
Well,
injured.
yeah, I don't know. But obviously, if she turns up, she's won it twice before. So she's really exciting to watch. And I
Mm.
think a lot of people are really intrigued by her.
She's like a machine, isn't she? She's
Oh
just
yeah,
like.
yeah, and she races a lot. More than most people would think
Mm.
was advisable. But yeah, she's incredible at this stuff, and yeah, has won it twice. So if she's on the start list, it might be a bit of a fight for who's second.
Mm.
Again, I haven't studied it yet in depth, but I know, you know, Alice Kershaw is there. She could do very well indeed.
She's got some
Um,
good history with the race, hasn't she, Alice?
yeah,
She's been in, yeah, she's podiumed at a few of the races, hasn't she, over the
yeah,
years?
yeah. She's got really good spine
Mm.
credentials. And I've been tipped off that there's a couple of strong female runners from abroad who are coming, who most of us won't know much about.
Mm,
I
that's
mean, I'm
interesting.
not talking Courtney Dauwalter here, but like, yeah, names I hadn't heard before, but I'm told um, are really strong.
Mm.
Who else is there? Um, no, Mel Sykes is doing Challenger South, isn't she? I think.
She's changed. She's dropped down to South. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I think, yeah, the women's race will certainly be competitive, and in a way, if Claire isn't there, it's going to be more of a sort of, oh wow, it could be in a way
Yeah.
more competitive because we might
More
have
of a battle.
three, four,
Mm.
five people who are fairly similar in ability and experience.
Because Claire
Um,
seems to just romp off, and she can be like in the past she's been like a full day ahead of second place, hasn't she? At times.
Yeah, and I guess really from a spectator perspective, you don't want to see that too much. Like
No.
you want more of a
You want a
race.
close race, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, selfishly from a spectator point of view. But
And
yes,
have you looked at the lineup for South as well?
oh, hold on, actually, sorry, there's someone I've overlooked. To my shame, is yeah, Sophie Grant or Sophie Woods, who's my GB was my GB teammate the one year I was in the team, so about 9 years ago. So again, for those who don't know her, she's a little under the radar.
Hmm.
She's a New Zealander, but she's lived in Britain for well over a decade, got a British husband, and she's completed Tour de Gion at least 3 times. Um, and she's been wrecking the Pennine Way. And yeah, I'd count her as a good friend. Now
What was her name again? I'm going to write
well,
this
that's
down.
yeah, she goes by two names. That's what throws people off a bit. So yeah, sort of married name and maiden name. So it's either down as Sophie Grant or Sophie Woods.
Right.
Um, and she's really strong, really strong. She's been, top 10 at many international races like Lavaredo, and yeah, top 5 at Tour de Gionne. And that's one of the most comparable races actually is Tour de Gionne for the sort of sleep
Mm,
deprivation. All right, the profile of the race is very different, but so Sophie could do very well indeed. Um, she's hardly raced in Britain for years, but she, international pedigree. She's going to be really interesting. I could see her being top 3, certainly.
that's interesting. Right.
Yeah,
I'll get on to add her to my list of people to hassle for interviews.
yeah, yeah. I think you should. I think you should. I think she's very experienced. She's a coach. She knows her stuff. She joined us for a bit on the spine races training weekend. Um, I mean, to be totally honest with you, with the other races, I haven't actually looked yet at the rosters. I just know, yeah, Mel Sykes is a good friend, and I know she was going to be doing the South, and I think there's someone called Scott Jack or something doing the South. Scott Jack, something like that.
Something like
I
that.
don't
Yeah,
think he'll amount to
yeah.
much.
Some builder from Stoke.
He sounds rubbish. Um, yeah, I wouldn't
Mark
bother.
Derbyshire, if he's in the right shape, I know he'd ummed and ahed about whether he was got a bit of a niggling injury, whether he's going to be on the line or not. But then that might be just sort of smack talk for Jack maybe.
Oh, I mean, that would be great fun to see. I'd love to see that. But I don't know.
Dan Weller, he's in it as well. He's
Okay, yeah,
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 he's a good
exciting,
racer. Yeah,
exciting, and
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 then a guy called Sam Hill, who's
oh,
he's
oh, I've heard
doing
he's much better than Scott Jack. I think he'll kick his butt.
it. My mate
It
Jack.
is. I think it is fun that there's because the other races are so, what's the word? I don't know, unique to the Pan Am Way in a way, but there is a straight 100-mile race within it, which is really nice because someone like Mark Derbyshire, who's a
Yeah,
100-mile
100 mile
specialist, can come
specialists.
over
Yeah.
and go, okay, well, 100 miles is my thing. I'm going to come and
Mm,
do 100 in amongst
mm,
all these races.
yeah.
That would make it really exciting. But I don't know.
It's good that it gets that the other races. This could sort of put a bit of shine on the other races. The fact that that you're doing Sprint North and that Jack and Mark Derbyshire are doing South, because sometimes it can all be about the full race, can't it? And obviously it is about the full race, but sometimes I feel from like a media perspective that the other races don't always get like the shine, in themselves that just if they were a standalone race, everyone would be going mad about the performances in it. But they kind of almost get a little bit lost in the ether, don't they, because of the big races still going on.
Yeah, but I mean, this isn't directly comparable. But if you look at UTMB and CCC over the years, like CCC always used to be sort of the little brother or sister and be
Mm,
quite overshadowed. But then there have been some years nowadays where the lineup has been as competitive and
yeah, that's true.
it hasn't always been the stepping stone. So it could move that way. It could move that
Yeah.
way. It's just I guess attracting the right sort of level, the amount of elite runners that make it an exciting race. And I feel like it's getting more and more competitive.
Mm,
And then we have got, yeah, in the Challenger North, I know we've got Spinksy. Spinksy's back for
yes.
that one, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's really becoming, because there's not much else on at that time of year. There is the Arc a bit later, but there's not much else. And it's just great to be part of it. And more and more people are realizing.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So thinking ahead, then, once you've you know won Sprint North, what's the
Hold
plan?
on.
What's the plan for the rest of the year, 2026? Have you got anything laid out? Obviously, you're going to go back and do the three solo again at some point in the summer.
Yeah. Well, firstly, yeah, I've no idea whether I will win Sprint North. Not taking that for granted. There'll be some other strong runners. I think John Shield is there, and nowadays with the sport, like there's so many young people coming that there are names. You look at the list and you think I don't know those names, and then
Yeah.
someone turns up and kicks your butt, which has happened to me. Um, so I don't take it for granted at all. And it's but later in the year, yeah, I'm going to go back and do three solo properly in better weather, um,
Mm.
probably sort of midsummerish. And then I have said yes to the Swiss Peaks 380, which is
Nice.
kind of a rival race to Tour de Gion, and that it's that time
Mm.
of year, similar distance. I've had some friends, quite a few friends do it now, 4 or 5 friends do it, and they say it's kind of more technical and pretty exciting. It's a bit less competitive, but I think it's getting more and more good runners. In fact, the guy who won Tour de Gion last year is going to be there as well. So yeah, excited about that. Excited to do something a bit different after 3 years in a row doing Tour de Gion. And I want to have a go. I should have time to do Joss Naylor, a Joss Naylor challenge, which for those who don't know is you can't do it till you're 50. You're not allowed. So I quite like that. No whippersnappers can come along and do a faster time because it won't count till you're 50. So that's around a 45-mile challenge in the Lake District. That, again, you can do any time. So I'll pick some weather and I'll recce it well and just try and do my fastest possible time. Probably sometime sort of late spring, and then not loads before that because I'm doing if you'll allow another clunky plug, I've got a speaking tour, which still sounds a very weird thing to say, but in
nice.
April and May,
For the bulk.
I think they've just realised that trail running and ultra running is booming, and they are, I've done some public speaking, but not really properly. But they just asked me, would I consider it? And then they booked a load of dates before I'd really thought about what I'd said. So I'm doing, I think, 19 dates around April, May, all around the country.
Wow.
And basically, I'll just repeat everything I've said to you here. So I wouldn't bother coming.
Well, I suppose you've done over the years you've done enough media work, haven't you, for it to just be not like a terrifying thing to stand up and talk in front of people.
Well, let's see. Hopefully. Yeah. I mean, I'll still be nervous, but I feel like I've hopefully got a few anecdotes or a few bits of wisdom, or at least how not to do it stories to share with people, and a bit from the new book as well on how people can, keep running maybe forever. So hopefully there's enough there to interest most runners. But still a little bit frightened of it, but that'll take up a lot of time in April and May. So they're the big ones, and then I often find 2 or 3 maybe localish B races to throw in there if there's time. But I mean, overall, just I'll be grateful if I can have another year, sort of injury free. And I am almost as excited about the training as the races nowadays. Days out with friends or maybe supporting friends on rounds and things like that. It's you realise in a way they're the special times. So just looking
forward to that.
Yeah.
How's things going with the new sponsor with Normal?
Oh, great. It's always a interesting time of year. This, I don't know if you can tell by because you're coming to the end of contracts for a lot of people. Like, I don't know if you can tell on social media with suddenly people mentioning their sponsors more, and especially if they haven't had a good year. But as far as I know, I'm continuing with them. I mean, this might come back to bite me, but continuing with them for another year, and really grateful for the support and impressed with them. It's a very imperfect world, sportswear. In terms of I guess pollution and the problems it brings, but they're trying to make the best of it. We need kit, right? Running's definitely a good thing, and we need some kit to do it. And they're trying to do things as responsibly as they can for now. They're trying to make things what's it called, a sort of life cycle where you can get your shoes resold,
more sustainable.
And they use the key cobbler for that, and in some countries, it's not yet in Britain, but they have like a lifetime guarantee on some of their products, as in we'll repair it and it will keep it going and stuff like that. So they're making an effort, and and the kit works well for me, and good. Especially I really love the Brute shoe, which I wore at Lakeland 100 and on this 3 solo or 2.5 solo. That's been really nice for Britain. The other 2 shoes, one's sort of a faster trail shoe and one's a bit of a maximalist shoe, but the Brute is, especially this time of year, it's got good grip but a little bit of cushioning too, and I'll probably wear that one on the Sprint North as well. So I'm really enjoying their approach and their kit.
Okay, just thinking, just quickly, I know don't want to keep you too long, but just thinking about the hot topic of kit for the spine and everything. What are your feelings about the changes to the kit list this year? They're not that too controversial, are they? But they get talked about every year, don't they?
um, what can what should I say here?
Waterproof fingered gloves. So the one pair that surprised me that it was the
Yeah,
minimum
yeah.
one
No,
pair.
I'm pleased they listened to some of us who were complaining, and they have reduced things, and they definitely the stove felt like
Stove,
it could be
yeah.
an optional thing, and didn't
Mm.
it's not a camp, to me, it's not a camping trip. It's it's meant to be a foot race, um, and it didn't seem essential to me. So I'm pleased they took that out. And my honestly, my biggest concern was that I can get hold of the cheap, the lightest and the more expensive kit. I can either afford it or I can ask companies, and they'll often give it to me as the truth. Whereas someone coming, well, the classic case is Sarah Perry there last year, right? One of the toughest runners in the world, and her bag was, it was almost the size of her, and you just thought, well,
Mm.
in the nicest. I hope she doesn't mind me saying this, but it looked like she was not barely running, but not running comfortably at all, and you just kind of thought, well, that's not fair. That's just not fair.
Mm.
Um, so what, um, and I think, I mean, they've always had this approach of it's more of an expedition than a race, which I can appreciate. But yeah, I think reducing the kit was sensible. I still think there's various items that are unnecessary, um, but they are, they have listened a bit and reduced things, and of
Mm.
course, yeah, there's a safety element too. But yeah, it is a bit less, so I'm not going to whinge too much. I applaud that. I applaud that. It's an ongoing battle, um, but yeah, and yeah, it was a disadvantage to people in terms of what they were carrying, which I felt was making people less safe in a way, because it's going to take them longer to get the checkpoint, more likely to get injured, etc. And just really expensive for people as well.
Mm.
But you do want people safe. You do want people safe. So
Yeah.
I'm not being a
I do remember you telling the story of how you wrapped yourself in your sleeping bag on the Cheviot.
yeah, and it worked. And I had I had practiced that at home. Because I thought, well, I'm carrying this really warm thing that I'm not going to use.
Yeah, may as well use
What if
it.
it gets really cold? I could use it, and I
Mm.
practiced, and it worked. It was lovely. I really didn't want to take it off. It was really really nice. But yeah, my argument at the time was my bag's so full of heavy stuff I probably won't need.
Mm.
I was reluctant to add an extra mid layer because I didn't want to carry the weight, and there was hardly space for it. Whereas if you'd reduced the kit, I would have carried an extra layer. So they have, I'm not taking credit for it, and I'm not saying that they were listening to me necessarily, but they have made it more like that. You could have a bit more
Mm.
space, and they've been a bit better with the mid layer. Um, yes, but I mean, I do love that side of it. Sort of, yeah, trying to pick the optimal kit for you, and then the pack to. I mean, I've got most of this sorted now, with the amount of spines I've done, but it is
It's
partly.
still a bit of a shock though, isn't it? You know, when you've been like running all through the summer and autumn in like, minimal gear, and then you're like, oh, well, I suppose I need to get the big bag out now and do the last few bits of training with the pack. And I always forget how it slows you down, and my stuff's going to be heavier than the stuff that you've got. I mean, I've got some of my stuff's quite lightweight. I've got a Criterion sleeping bag. That was like the thing that I splashed out on when I did the full winter. It's not as light as some could be, but it's a pretty light sleeping bag. But it's still, once you pile everything in there, you still, because it does alter your gait, doesn't it, a bit, and you
Yeah,
feel slower.
and even if you really really pick the lightest, it's going to be, you're talking around 5 kilograms still with when you add the food and liquid, and yeah, some of that is necessary, some of that's going to keep people safe, but yeah, it is quite different to other races. And as I said to Lindley once, for the Tour de Gion, all right, it's a different race, a different country, but it's pretty much like two silver blankets and a phone. They don't even ask you to carry like capacity to carry water or even a waterproof jacket. uh
Mhm.
that's just left up to you. um and if I'm honest, I prefer that approach. They sort of treat you more as grown-ups and say, well,
Your choice,
you're
yeah.
you're looking after yourself. Pick
Mm.
some,
It's your funeral, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And some of it may come. I'm only speculating, but may come down to insurance. Um, getting insurance for an event, and you know, probably the spine on paper sounds quite risky. So,
Mm.
but yeah, you do want people to be safe ultimately. and yeah, and I
That's
would say on
wonderful.
the spine, yeah, people are relatively safe. There's a lot of safety team around, and a lot of people watching the trackers, in the race HQ and stuff. Um, so yeah, it's an improvement.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Poles or no poles for Sprint North?
Oh, do you know, I hadn't really decided. Definitely the other races, the 100, the 100 upwards, I'll be taking poles. I think I'll end up using them. I think my approach normally is yeah, poles are super helpful on, I suppose, mountainous races, or races with sustained climbs. And the spine doesn't really have loads of that. However, yeah, the bogs and the snow and slippery mud, there is so many things. Even if you've got great grip and then the additional sort of traction aids, you're still going to be slipping on something.
Mm,
And the poles could save you twisting a knee or something. So they're as much a safety feature as a sort of propulsion aid. Um,
mm,
I think I probably will take them, and yeah, I'm lucky to get poles from Lecky, and they're very light nowadays, and you sort of stick them on your back and forget about them if you don't need them. So
mm.
yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure I will carry them.
Brilliant. Right, well, I won't keep you any longer, mate. I appreciate you giving us a bit of your time, and I'm looking forward to having another race to watch. So I'll be when do you start? Is that Sunday lunchtime, is it?
No, no, it's like Tuesday. Let me
Oh,
see,
is it Tuesday? I was thinking it was
Tuesday
earlier on.
13th. Yeah, yeah.
Tuesday.
I
Yeah.
think the idea is they get us up the course ahead of, so we don't cause congestion with the other races coming up. So I think they let us out just beforehand, before everyone
Yeah.
else.
So you'll
Yeah,
be sort of
Tuesday lunchtime.
Tuesday lunchtime. Awesome. Right. Well, I'll hope. Well, I hope I'll be back home watching you up by then. I'm hoping to finish at some point on Sunday, hopefully, for me doing South. So,
Well,
yeah,
good luck.
I'm taking Monday off, and then Tuesday I'll be watching the dots. So, all the best, mate. I appreciate you coming on, giving us a bit of your time, and looking forward to seeing how you do come
Nice.
January.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, dude.
Talk to you soon. Cheers, mate. See you later. Thanks for listening, everyone. He's gone.